to Parthsarthi Foundation. So as Prabhuji mentioned, today we are very fortunate to have His Grace Rasikendra Prabhu with us. So Prabhuji was born in Singapore and he became exposed to Srila Prabhupada's books at a very early age, like when he was only 12 years old. Later, Prabhuji came to Texas in 1992 to pursue his graduate studies in engineering. And shortly thereafter, he met devotees for the first time in the university campus, and he developed friendship with them and started going to the Dallas temple. He met his spiritual master, Srila Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, in 1992, and he moved to the Dallas devotee community in 1994, and received his first initiation in Dallas in January 1995, and Brahminical initiation in Houston in May 1996. So Prabhuji has received his PhD in aerospace engineering from the University of Texas, and he is employed as a faculty there. Prabhuji and his wife moved to Houston in March of 2006 after he was offered a job there. At present, Prabhuji is the Executive Vice President for an AI startup company in Silicon Valley and resides with his family close to the Houston ISKCON temple. Spiritually, Prabhuji manages Tamal Krishna Goswami Memorial Foundation, which continues the sacred legacy of Maharaj by printing and distributing his books. He leads fundraising initiatives for various ISKCON projects and actively participates in outreach programs and initiatives to spread Srila Prabhupada's teachings to the people in general. So we are very grateful to Prabhuji for accepting our invitation and giving us his valuable time. So today Prabhuji will be speaking on verse 3 of Nectar of Instruction, and I'm sure we are all looking forward to tonight's talk. So without further ado, let's welcome Prabhuji by chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Over to you, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. It's a pleasure to be given an opportunity to speak in this August Assembly of Devotees. So Harilila Prabhu reached out and said, Prabhuji, can you give class? So, so in this Assembly of Learned Devotees, I'm trying to speak something. Hopefully it will be approved, be acceptable to the saintly Vaishnavas. So one thing is, I'm holding the Nectar of Instruction. So the Nectar of Instruction is, even though it is a very, very brief work, only 11 verses by Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada. They are very, very potent in nourishing our devotional service. It tells us what to do, what not to do, what is the various levels of devotional service, how to practice service, what is the supremacy of devotional service, and what are the symptoms of devotional service. So it gives a lot of wonderful instructions. And Prabhupada, of course, in his commentary on the Upadeshamrita, has really made it very clear, because these are like 11 verses, just like the Vedanta Sutra. They're like sutras. Very verse, very concise, but without explanation sometimes. Often we don't get the essence of these verses. So therefore, Srila Prabhupada and the great acharyas have commented on this Upadeshamrita. And Prabhupada has presented to us this wonderful book, Nectar of Instruction. So what I will do is, we won't read the entire commentary. I'll pick from some of those Prabhupada's commentary and try our best to elaborate on it. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamhayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha. Shri Rupam Sagra Jatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Shakhanvitamscha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Tamal Krishna Goswami Nitinam. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitinam. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschate Deshatadini. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaur Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare. So let me read the verse in word to word translation, and then Utsahan
Nishchaya
Dhairyat
Dhairya
Tat Karma Pravartanat
Karma Pravartanat
Sangatyagat
Sangatyagat
Satovrite
Satovrite
Sadbir Bhaktir Prasidyati
Sadbir Bhaktir Prasidyati
Utsaham Nischaya Dhairya Tat Karma Pravartanat Sangatyagat Satovrite Sadbir Bhakti Prasidyati. Utsaha by enthusiasm, Nischayat by confidence, Dhairyat by patience, Tat Karma, various activities favorable for devotional service, Pravartanat by performing, Sangatyagat by giving up the association of non-devotees, Sata of the great previous acharyas, Vrite by following in the footsteps, Sadbhi by these six, Bhakti devotional service, Prasidyati advances or becomes successful. There are six principles favorable to the execution of pure devotional service. One, being enthusiastic, that is Utsahan, endeavoring with confidence, Nischayat, being patient, Dhairyat, acting according to regulative principles such as Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, hearing, chanting, and remembering Krishna. That's Tat Karma Pravartanat. Abandoning the association of non-devotees, Sangatyagat. Following in the footsteps of the previous acharyas, Satovrite. These six principles undoubtedly assure the complete success of pure devotional service. There are six principles favorable to the execution of pure devotional service: being enthusiastic, endeavoring with confidence, being patient, acting according to regulative principles such as Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, hearing, chanting, and remembering Krishna, abandoning the association of non-devotees, and 6, following in the footsteps of the previous acharyas. These 6 principles undoubtedly assure the complete success of pure devotional service. So, Srila Rupa Goswami has defined devotional service. What is pure devotional service? And Prabhupada says that this devotional service is not something imaginary, something which is ecstasy created in somebody's, artificially in somebody's mind. It's not that. So Prabhupada quotes Srila Rupa Goswami in his purport, in the first instance of his purport, saying, Anya bilashita shunyam yana karmadi anavritam anukulyena krishnanu shilanam bhaktir uttama. So this is a very, very important verse. It defines what is pure devotional service. Not just some kind of karma yoga, some kind of Mishra Bhakti, some kind of mixed Bhakti. He talks about Uttama Bhakti. So Uttama Bhakti, or unalloyed devotion unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, involves the rendering of devotional service in a way that is favorable to the Lord. Anushilanam. This devotional service should be free from any extraneous motive. Anya abhilashita sunyam. Completely absent of any kind of material aspirations, any kind of material agenda. Anya abhilashita sunyam. Jnana karmadi anavritam. Free of any jnana and any kind of impersonal aspiration, any kind of liberation, and desire for moksha, desire for mukti, desire for any kind of fruitive results, devoid of fruitive karma, impersonal jnana, and other selfish desires. Anya abhilashita shunyam, jnana karmadi anavritam, anukulyena Krishna anushilanam. Anukul, and pleasing. Anushilanam. Okay, and Shilanam Bhakti Uttama. So this is the definition of Uttama Bhakti. Of course, this is a very high standard Srila Rupa Goswami is given and is defined. And Srila Rupa Goswami is our most revered acharyas. We are considered Rupanugas. We are considered followers of Srila Rupa Goswami, Rupa and Raghunath. And so we are receiving the teachings through the lotus mouth of Srila Rupa Goswami, who personally heard these instructions from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So our parampara, our sampradaya has to very carefully follow this instructions of Srila Rupa Goswami to keep purity, because you find nowadays any religious organization, any even so-called spiritual organizations, they engage in work which is not pure devotional service. In fact, often it becomes very mundane. Save the earth, save the animals, save the whale, feed the poor. It almost becomes some kind of altruistic organizations, most even spiritual institutions. These are no doubt good activities, but they are not pure devotional service. These do not attract Krishna. What is pure devotional service? Pure devotional service means Krishna is attractive to Krishna. Krishna, who's attractive to the whole universe, becomes attracted by pure devotional service. Krishna doesn't get attracted if you go and do some philanthropic work, if you open a hospital, if you open a school, or if you feed the poor people. Feeding prasadam is one thing, but if you just liberally go and feed people with all kind of stuff, this is not pleasing to Krishna. But you'll find that most religious institutions think that these are spiritual activities. And therefore, Srila Rupa Goswami makes it very clear, and Prabhupada has made it very clear, our acharyas have made it very clear, what is pure devotional service. So there was a pastime where there was a brahmana, there was a brahmachari who wanted the darshan of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he was famous. He only survived on milk, drinking milk. So people regarded him very highly. So if somebody just, nowadays, if somebody just, all they do is just drink milk and don't eat anything else, probably will be highly regarded now. Wow, this is a sadhu. Whether he has any inclination for bhakti, but somebody say, oh, this person is great austerity, he's just drinking milk. He must be a great sadhu. So I can't remember, was it Srivas Thakur? It was. And tried to get him into the audience of Mahaprabhu. And Mahaprabhu said, you think just by drinking milk, one can get bhakti? So Mahaprabhu immediately rejected it, right? So therefore we see in India too, people do a lot of austerities. In Ekadasi, during Chaturmas or the Chandrayan Vrat, people do all kind of Vrat, but they may not be engaging in pure devotional. In fact, they may not be even engaging close to pure devotional service. So therefore, it is important that we know what is devotional service. Devotional service is anything which pleases Krishna. Actually, that is a devotion. Samsiddhi haritoshanam. One's perfection is by the pleasure, is by pleasing Krishna. Yashmin tushti jagat tushti. And then another aspect of devotional service is savai pungsa parodharma yatto bhakti radokshaje ahaituki apratihata yayatma suprasidati. So only pure devotional service can completely satisfy the soul. And it should be free of any agenda. Ahaituki. And it should not have any stop, any cessation. Apratihata. Then that will be completely pleasing. So that same thing is mentioned by Srila Rupa Goswami. Anya abhilashita shunyam jnana karma dhyanavritam. No agenda. No, it's not like I'm going to Krishna to pray for something. Something which is material. Something which is for intellectual. Something for some mental happiness. No. Like Kunti Devi says, right? Krishna, please always keep me in some kind of distress, some kind of calamity. Keep these calamities keep coming my way. So this is an amazing prayer. Why? Even though she's asking for, she said, please, this, because only when this come, I can constantly think of you. So her desire is to constantly think of Krishna very favorably. Therefore, she's praying to keep her in always in a kind of a difficult condition. Like the Pandavas, their whole life was like constantly in difficult situation, and they were constantly thinking of Krishna, seeking the shelter of Krishna. So so how do we go about attaining this kind of bhakti? You can't just do it yourself. You absolutely cannot do it yourself. They say even the Paramahansas, who are on the topmost platform of devotional service, they also constantly hanker for the association of devotees. They constantly hanker to hear about the glories of the Lord from the pure devotees. Not that when you become Paramahansa, that means it's done. You got your degree, you got your certification, and everything is done. No. So Lord Chaitanya says, right, it's Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam. It is an expanding ocean. There's no limit to the ocean of bhakti. Even Krishna cannot understand completely himself. Krishna couldn't understand the love for Radharani has for him. Krishna couldn't understand himself completely. Krishna couldn't understand the ecstasy Radharani feels. So therefore he appeared as Lord Chaitanya. So what to speak of us? We cannot completely understand Krishna. So therefore, even when you reach the highest stages of devotional service, the goalpost is constantly moving. Like they say, the target is constantly moving, and the devotees like run after this target, which is the prema is always expanding, just like an ocean you're trying to swim, and the shores are constantly expanding away from you. So that's the nature of Krishna bhakti, is ever expanding. You can never come to the shore of this bhakti. So Rupa Goswami says, how can we attain that kind of bhakti where we just hanker for the service of Krishna? We become exceedingly greedy for Krishna's service, for Krishna's pleasure. It starts in very small baby steps, like the first two steps of the Upadeshamrita. Srila Rupa Goswami speaks about, how we can, what is the symptom of a person who is fit to make disciples all over the world. That's the first instruction, okay? He speaks about, that's a very exalted position, to be fit to make disciples all over the world. That is a very, very exalted position. Vacho vegam, manasa krodha vegam, jiva vegam, udara upasta vegam, etan vegam, visahita dira, sarvam apimam, pritivim sasisya. He sets the standard. Who is even qualified to approach first step for pure devotional service? He says, that means in this world, practically everybody is disqualified. Just from the first verse, one who can control the urge of the tongue, urge to speak, the mind's demand, vachavegam, manasa, the pushings of anger, the actions of anger, right? And the urges of the tongue, jiva, the urges of the belly, the urges of the genitals. So that is actually a definition of a Goswami. Anybody who can control these 6 urges. So he sets the standard. Then he says what not to do if you want to become a devotee. what he says, all those negative, those you have to abstain from. The certain things you embrace and other things you reject, abstain, niyama, adyahara prayasascha. I mean, too much endeavor, overeating, too much collecting, ati ahara. Ahara means too much eating, too much collecting. Okay, ahara, exceedingly ahara. Okay, prayasa, too much prayas, too much effort for something, when you try to, in your job, you become too much endeavor that you lose focus on your activities. Krishna seva. Prayasas. Okay. Atiyahara prayasascha prajalpa, always talking things which are not connected to Krishna. Gramya katha. So these are the things we have to abstain from. Niyamagraha, following rules and regulations very strictly. Attachment, okay? Oh, Ekadasi, I have to do this. I cannot do this. But the purpose of Ekadasi is to remember Krishna. Not that you become too preoccupied with the rules and regulations. Oh, I cannot do this. I cannot sit this way. I have to make sure very carefully that I don't mispronounce any mantra. These things are all not the real essence, or being too lax about rules and regulations. Oh, Ekadasi is all right. In Jagannath Puri, the pandas all eat grains. On Jagannath Puri, it's okay. Oh, you know what? I can, these rules and regulations are just for very neophyte people, not for me. Rejecting the rules. And so we cannot take extreme positions like that. Or Ekadasi, I have to stay up all night long. I remember when I was growing up in Singapore, on some Ekadasis, the cinema, they'll put movies. So the Indian crowd, they say, oh, Ekadasi, you have to stay up all night long. So they go to the movies and watch cinema, but they stay up all night long. They think the essence of Ekadasi, you stay up all night long, but it doesn't matter what you're doing, as long as you stay up all night long. So this is kind of very great misunderstanding. All right, Prajalpa Niyamagra, Janasangas, very always keeping the association of worldly minded people. And ardent longing for greed. And these 6 things will destroy your bhakti. Okay, so then he talks about what is favorable to bhakti, which we just spoke on. Utsaham, enthusiasm. Now, if you are serving somebody, even somebody in your house, if you don't serve them enthusiastically, that the person being served will not be happy. Let's say you cook some meal very half-heartedly, and then that person, be it your husband, and then you just put the plate of food in front of them like that, put it on the table and walk away. You think the person will be happy who's going to eat the meal? No. So there has to be enthusiasm in your service. It cannot be very dull or just for the sake of duty I'm doing. You have to be very attentive and have enthusiasm, utsaham. Like only when you have utsaham in anything, you can succeed in life. If you want to be a very good athlete, you got to be training very enthusiastically. If you want to become a big doctor, you have to practice very enthusiastically. If you want to become a good cook, you have to cook very enthusiastically, attentive to the details, make sure everything is good and careful and not be lax. Utsaham, Nischayat. Next thing is Nischayat. Means you got to be confident that if I go on this path very sincerely and very enthusiastically, Krishna will definitely bestow his mercy on me. The great devotees have confirmed this. Krishna said that in the Bhagavad Gita. There's examples in my life I can see devotees who have been so sincere in this path of bhakti. They have attained the highest levels of bhakti. So I will also attain that by their mercy, by Krishna's mercy. So we have to be very confident that faith has to be there. Okay, that Krishna is my protector. Krishna is my provider. Krishna is my well-wisher. So that confidence has to be there. That nischaya, that bhakti is the best thing in my life I can do. Nowhere should we at any point have any kind of doubt. Even we have doubt, we have to clear that doubt. That look at that person, I've become a devotee now. I'm trying to become a devotee. My material position is not that good. But look at the other guy, he's not really interested in bhakti, but look, he's becoming very wealthy. His business is doing very well. His daughter has graduated and they found a nice husband. In my life, nothing seems to be going right for me. I lost my job, I'm always arguing with my wife. I'm always arguing with my husband. Nothing is not going right in my life. So when you're a devotee, when this kind of things happen in your life, you should continue to perform your devotional service. Like Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Grihe tako bone tako, sada hari bole tako, suke duke bhulo nako, vadane hari naam korore, maya jale bado hoye, acho miche kajale. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, whether you are in happiness, you are in distress, keep on going, chanting the holy name of Krishna. So our life will not be free of challenges as a devotee. We'll be most foolish to think that when I try to become a devotee, my life will be very comfortable. No. Look at the life of the Pandavas. Look at the life of the gopis. So sometimes people have this conception, when I become a devotee, I will get all relief from all these problems I'm having. So that is also a material thing. When you want to get relieved of your problems to try to become a devotee, that is not pure bhakti. Kunti Devi's mood is correct. Krishna, keep putting me in trouble. So, Utshaham Nischayat, like we have to be very enthusiastic in our service, no matter what challenges. Like, look at Prabhupada's life. Look at Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, Bhaktivinoda Thakur. The constant challenges, the entire life was just fighting against this onslaught of Maya. Onslaught of people who are trying to check the progress of the Sankirtan movement. So if we have this idea that my life is going to be very comfortable, that is actually not the proper attitude to have. So once my spiritual master, of course, during the early days in India, was serving Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada had given me so much service. And he said, Prabhupada, it's just, I don't even have time to chant my rounds. Prabhupada, that's very good. That you got so much service, there's no room for Maya. So We have to continue with enthusiasm. We have to continue with confidence. Nishchaya, Krishna will bestow his mercy on. That confidence we have. The devotees, they will bestow their mercy. Uchaham nischayat, dhairyat. At the same time, we have to be patient. Patient and tolerance. Because you cannot just dictate to Krishna, I want mercy right now, Krishna. But actually, we are, the moment we are engaged in devotional service, we should understand that it's Krishna's mercy. But we cannot dictate that to Krishna, I want it now. Krishna is fully independent. Krishna is free at will. Because we also need to go through our path of purification. So if it's taking long, it's not because of Krishna's fault, it's because of our shortcoming. You may think, 40 years I've been chanting Hare Krishna. Where is any bhakti in my heart? There's nothing in my heart for Krishna. Some devotees think like that, even though they're very great devotees. So we have to be patient in this. Only with patience you can attain wonderful things. Just like Prabhupada gives the example of nuts, very valuable nuts like almonds and pistachios, cashews. They take a long time to, from the flower until a full almond is there, takes a long time. Or a cashew. So it takes time for anything valuable to happen. It can't just happen overnight. Like it takes a woman, 38 weeks to get a baby. You can't just say, I want the baby right now. It won't happen. So Krishna, we have to be patient, and mercy is dispensed according to Krishna's time. But we should never lose hope, lose our confidence. So, Utsaham Nischayat, Dhairyat, we have to be very, very patient. And because while we are performing devotional service, also there may be a lot of challenges. People may treat us badly, because that is also for our purification. If some people treat us badly, even devotees, some people may treat us badly. Some people may accuse us of certain things unfairly. The proper attitude of a devotee is, Krishna wants me to learn something from all this. We should never think that Krishna is not paying attention. In a devotee's life, Krishna is personally paying attention. Everything a devotee goes through, we should never think Krishna has abandoned me. Look at all the challenges I'm going through. Look at what my husband is going through. Oh, look at what I'm going through. Look at what my children are going through. Why Krishna is not helping me? Sometimes this mentality comes. That's not the mood we should have. Krishna actually is supposed to get more suffering, but because I'm trying to become a devotee, you have lessened the suffering for me. That's the attitude. I deserve more difficulty, but Krishna, by your mercy, you have lessened. That should be the mood of a devotee. Of course, it's a very high position to be, but that's what we should aspire for. We should never at any point think that Krishna is at fault for anything in our life. It's actually for our own doing. Uchaham Nischayat Dhairyat. Okay, without patience and tolerance, we cannot perform devotional service. Titikshava. The first symptom of a sadhu, as Srimad Bhagavatam speaks, Titikshava. Very tolerant and patience. go together. If you're not tolerant, you cannot be patient. Without patience, you cannot be tolerant. Titikshava, Saralata, Sahisnuta, these are the prime qualities of a devotee. Very simple-hearted and very tolerant. So Lord Chaitanya also says, Tranat api sunichena, taroriva sahisnuna. Same instruction. And Lord Chaitanya also, in his final prayer, says, Krishna, whether you trample on me or embrace me, you will be my Lord. Unconditionally. So that's the standard of bhakti Lord Chaitanya has propagated. So we should aspire for such bhakti. We have to be enthusiastic. We have to be confident that Krishna's mercy will come. We should be very patient for Krishna to dispense his mercy. Keep continuing to perform our devotional service. Then what is the fourth quality, fourth attribute? What? Uchaham nischaya dhairyat tat karma pravartana. Performing things which are favorable for devotional service, activities. Okay, like chanting our daily rounds, associating with devotees, reading the Srimad Bhagavatam, offering prayers to Krishna, residing in a holy place, worshipping the deity, making friendship with Krishna, worshipping Krishna, observing Ekadasi, celebrating festivals which are Vaishnava festivals. Madhava Titi Bhakti Janani. So any kind of Titi associated with Lord Madhava, when you observe those Titis, Bhakti is born in your heart, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says. So don't think these festivals are just so many festivals are coming all the time. Who has got time to do all this? Sometimes people think like that. Oh, I'm at work, office. Every day I have to work. How can I observe this? All these festivals after festivals are coming. Sometimes we may think like that. But we have to observe. All right. We have to participate in those festivals. Because those days are very special days where by rendering some service, you get tremendous benefit. All right. So there's so many things favorable to devotional service. At the same time, there's so many things unfavorable to devotional service. Anukulya sankalpam pratikulya varjanam. Very important thing. Now, one important thing comes. What is anukul for you may not be anukul for another person. Because that's where the spiritual master's instruction comes in. You may think, Guru Maharaj, I would like to, worship the deity every day. Your Guru Maharaj will think he's simply not wanting to do any other service. He'll think this disciple thinks because he's on the altar, nobody is going to give him more service, or people will look up to him, oh, he's the pujari. So for some material desires also, sometimes somebody may ask the Guru Maharaj, I want to be always worshipping the deity. But the Guru Maharaj say, no. I don't want you to worship the deity. I want you to clean the temple every day. So the disciple may think, what Guru Maharaj, why are you asking me to clean the temple? I want to worship Krishna, directly dress Krishna. That's the highest thing. No. You just every day mop the temple, you clean the pots in the kitchen. There's a famous pastime, a big scholar came to see Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And then he was engaging in very scholarly topics. Then Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati said, I think it's best go to the DT kitchen there and wash the pots. He told this scholar, highly respected scholar. Then he was thinking, why is this? Why is he telling me to go and wash pots? I mean, what am I going to do washing pots? I've got such high qualifications. I came for scholarly discussion. He asked me to go. So, but he was humble enough to go to the kitchen and where they're washing. And then he said, you know, your Guru Maharaj told me to come and wash these pots. Okay, come wash pots. So he was washing all the pots for a long time. Then after washing the pots, he went to tell Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, I understand now why you told me to wash pots. You see, so what is favorable for somebody may not be favorable for another person. So therefore, we need Guru, Shastra and Sadhu to tell us what is favorable and what is not unfavorable. Somebody may just want to like sit and give Bhagavatam class, but the purpose of them giving Bhagavatam class is to attract attention to themselves and become famous. So that is not anukul. That is actually pratikul. Because by him, this person giving Bhagavatam class is not really glorifying Krishna. He's glorifying himself. So it's a very important thing. Therefore, the spiritual master, the saintly Vaishnavas, those who have personal realization, when they give an instruction to us, sometimes they may look like contrary. Often it may look like contrary to what we want to do. But we have to follow this. Can become very confusing. So, Tattat karma pravartana. Tattat karma pravartana also means doing things which are favorable to your devotional service under the guidance of a experienced devotee. If your spiritual master not here, but under the guidance of a well-meaning, well-wishing devotee who's experienced. All right, then abandoning the association of non-devotees. So when Lord Chaitanya asked Ramananda Rai, how do you recognize a devotee? Then Ramananda Rai told him, Asat Sangha Tyagad E Vaishnava Achara. Anybody who's given up the association of non-devotees, he's a devotee. Because a man is a social animal. He cannot be free of any association. He has to associate with Sajjana or he associates with Durjana. There's no middle ground. So anybody who's given up the association of unsaintly people, naturally is going to associate with saintly people. So we have to give up the association of people who are not helping in our devotional service. But in the course of our work, we may have to associate with a lot of people who are not devotees. So people are confused. How am I going to do that? You associate with them, but you don't open up your heart to them. Because when you open up your heart to them, people have access to contaminate your heart. You do your work, but don't get entangled with their contamination. Don't partake in their contamination. It's a very fine line. So therefore, when you go to work, you bring some prasadam, you bring some cookies. So even you start helping the people around you who are not devotees. You can bring them some maha flowers from the temple. Hey, look, this flower from my garden. You can offer to Krishna. Look how very fragrant it is. And people will smell, wow, this is amazing. They make unknowing devotional service. Hey, here my wife made some cookies. So you also make your materialistic environment spiritual by doing these activities. That's how you can also protect yourself from contamination at work. Because it's very powerful, this contamination is because everybody around you, they just got all these material desires and you're sitting in the midst of them. Naturally, the energy is going to overpower you. If you yourself don't try to perform some devotional activity in that environment, it's not like you have to do kirtan and you have to chant your round at office. But when you go to office, bring some prasadam for the people, give them some mercy. You can speak something even in a very sublime way from our scriptures to them, being kind to them. That's another way you can protect yourself. And Satovrate, following the footsteps of the predecessor of the great acharyas, because the acharyas appear in this world to teach us how to perform devotional service, how to very quickly attain pure bhakti. And it's already proven to us. We don't have to invent it. So therefore, it's very effective. We just follow in their path. Mahajana yena gata. Sapantaha. Tarka pratishta sutayo vibhinna nasamuni matangna binna dharmasya tattvam nihitam guhaya mahajana yena gata sapanta. So this is already shown to us how to do. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. These devotees have done this, they've been successful. That devotee has done this, they've been successful. This devotee has done this, has been successful. So why try something new? It's already been proven. So just follow the path. Satovrate. So it says, right, this is it in the Bhagavatam? These devotees have taken this boat to cross over the ocean of material of birth and death, and then they've left the boat for you. So you can get on the boat and cross over the ocean of birth and death. So why go and try to build your own boat? Probably your boat will sink if you build your own boat. So jump onto the boat which they have built, and they will also captain the boat for you. And the favorable winds are the scriptures which take you over the ocean of birth and death. Okay, we'll stop here. I know we don't have much time. Any questions, any comments? These are the 6 things, very simple to follow. But because our mind is so crooked, we can't follow these things. All right.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna so much. Very nice explanation of Rupa Goswami's 3rd verse. You have given very nice examples to follow for the devotee. So we are very grateful to you, Prabhuji, for accepting our invitation to Parthsarthi Foundation. So now I will request Mataji, if you are there, please take the questions.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for a very, very wonderful session, Prabhuji. We are so glad you are in Parthsarthi Foundation, and we are so enlightened us for today's amazing lecture, Prabhuji. So I request to everyone, if you have any question, any realization, so please raise your hand and feel free to ask to Prabhuji. Sakshi Gopal Prabhuji, please unmute yourself. Hari Bol, Hare Krishna.
One request I have.
Yes, Prabhuji, please.
We are personalists. When we come to these sessions, we have to come on video. I know maybe this time you may not be properly dressed or properly whatever, But it's always good when we come for this kind of sadhu sangha, we show our faces. Okay, just
Understood, Prabhuji. Thank you very much for
okay,
this
go
point.
ahead.
Thank
Who
you
is
very much
asking?
for this is Sakshi Gopal Das. Please accept
Yes.
my humble obeisances. Our glory to Srila Prabhupada. And duly noted your point. Come on the video, but my computer does not have a camera. So
Okay,
sorry
that's
about
okay.
that.
That's all right.
So thank you. And it was a wonderful explanation of the third verse of Upadeshamrit. And you were saying like in Tat Tat Karna Parvattanat. Basically, we should follow all the limbs of bhakti, but in the mood of not, while we are reading Srimad Bhagavatam or we are preaching the Srimad Bhagavatam or discussing Srimad Bhagavatam, we should not do it in the mood of name and fame.
Yes.
But as a beginner, when we kind of start this journey of a spiritual journey, we kind of, it says a dharya nishtha and utsaha. In utsaha, we go talk and discuss these topics with others. And it is not our inner mood to discuss or to have this name and fame, but others may think in that way.
Yes, you're right.
And in due course of time, like when we go talk these topics, and we do get undue respect and fame for that, how do we handle or receive that undue name and fame when we are doing these activities?
Okay, yeah.
Elaborate that?
So, good question. So, during one of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's Vyasa Puja address, his famous Vyasa Puja address, he said, I am this brute sitting and taking all this worship. Of course, he's an Acharya. He considered himself a brute, a very crude person, that I'm so arrogant, I'm taking all this worship. But then he at the same time say, but at the same time, it's my duty to receive all this worship because I have accepted the role of the preceptor. So therefore, we should, any fame, people may come to touch your feet. You should never allow people to touch your feet. If, let's say, you become a good speaker of the Bhagavatam, whether you are genuinely devoted to the Bhagavatam, or you still got material desires while you speak, you get looking for some name and fame, you should be very careful that Krishna, I've got so many anarthas in me. So please protect me. Any fame which comes my way, please protect me from that fame. We should pray like that. Please protect me from any position I get because of my devotional service. So we should pray like that, because Maya is always trying to bewilder us in any stage. Until you get prema, Maya will constantly harass you. But when you attain real prema of Krishna, that's where Maya has no influence over you. Until Bhava also, Maya can influence you, just like Bharat Maharaj. He was on the stage above. So we should constantly, every day, pray to Krishna. Krishna, there's so many distractions in this world. I'm getting fame, I'm getting adoration, I'm getting so much worship. So therefore, it's not easy to become a spiritual master, because the spiritual master sitting and thousands of disciples may be worshipping. It's very natural to think I'm so great. People are worshiping me. Look, all these great, big people, highly qualified people are worshipping me. I must be great. Naturally, somebody may think like that, but that's very unnatural for a devotee. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya, first thing he said, when the Shiksha, in the third verse, he says, Trinata Pisunichena. right? So one has to become humble, and humble means following in the path of the spiritual master. What the spiritual master, if your spiritual master wants to teach you to preach boldly, yes, that's my humility. Like when some devotees will preach very boldly and go and report to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, say, yeah, he'll be so happy that my disciples have spoken to very stalwart scholars, impersonal scholars, and chastise them. He will be so happy when he hears this. But somebody may have to go very humbly and try to preach the message. But if that's not pleasing to Krishna, that's not humility. Okay, so following what the Guru Parampara wants you, that is humility. Without manufacturing our own philosophy, without adulterating, contaminating, sticking to the path of truth. Like sometime in Bhagavatam class, somebody may ask a question, may ask a very difficult question, and just to please that person, you may say something which is against our scripture. It may look very pleasing and everything, but if it's not aligned with our scriptures, you're not doing a service to the Bhagavad. You may have to preach very boldly sometimes. Somebody may challenge you during Bhagavatam class, and you have to also counter that according to Guru, Shastra, and Sadhu. Okay, so we have to be mindful of that.
Thank you very
Hopefully
much.
I've answered that. So we always think, Krishna, please don't make me allured by all this name, fame. Let me always follow the instructions of what my spiritual master, what the sadhus, what the Vaishnavas, what the Shastras have said. Let me just follow that and not be distracted. Okay?
Thank you.
Yes, Raghava Chaitanya Prabhu, you have a question.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories
Please
to
accept mine. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
Prabhuji, very nice class, Prabhuji. And I was hearing Tat Karma Pravartanat in the beginning when you were saying, and also in the beginning you were talking about the Chaturmasa and after some time Ekadasi. So, of course, I have not done very strictly on any of them. It's like Chaturmasa or something, but are they considered Tat Karma Pravartanat?
Yes, it is.
It's okay to do them, right? Chaturmasa.
Of course, we have to do Chaturmas, but sometimes people get carried away in Chaturmas. Prabhupada say first month, don't eat spinach. So people will say, oh, I can't eat this cabbage. Cabbage is not considered spinach. Prabhupada only said spinach. People say, oh, I can't eat broccoli. Because this is like overextending. No, I know some people like they take very severe chaturmas. Too much austerity can also be harmful for devotional service. Because if your body is not fit to do devotional service, if you're on such a neophyte platform, your mind becomes very affected by austerity. It can happen. Your heart can become very hard. Sometimes when you do too much austerity, when you're not fit for doing that kind of austerity. We are not like the Goswamis. We're not like Raghunath Das Goswami. Every other day he took some buttermilk, some palm full of buttermilk. We can't try to imitate Raghunath Das Goswami. Okay, we don't want to be doing all this vrat and only thinking about prasad. You're doing this vrat, but whole day you're just thinking about prasad, about eating, and not thinking of Krishna. Okay? So it's important. Like I gave that example, like in Singapore, when I was growing up, certain Ekadasis, the people will go to the movie theater and watch 2, 3, 4 movies continuously to stay awake at night.
My God.
But they were not thinking of Krishna. You see what I mean? They may be looking very materialistic things. So, so there was also time when in Mayapur, when Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada, some of Srila Prabhupada's god brothers criticized Srila Prabhupada because on Ekadasi day, Prabhupada was telling the devotees to feed them like khichdi. Khichdi are some grains. The pilgrims, not the devotees in but the pilgrims who are coming, because they don't observe Ekadasi. So Prabhupada's god brothers, some criticize, how can you get them to eat grains? He say, if I don't give them prasadam grains, they will be eating some fish or something like that, some on Ekadasi. So only, you see, this is an Acharya can make such concessions. All right, on Ekadasi in our temple, even though people may not be following Ekadasi, when they come Ekadasi to our temple, we should serve only Ekadasi prasadam. Even though the deity, sometimes we offer grains. Some temples, they offer grains to the deities. But the devotees, they don't take the grains. Lord Chaitanya had one request for his mother. He never requested his mother anything. One thing. He said, Mom, on Ekadasi, at least don't eat grains. He told his mother. People think, what is this grains thing? I mean, what is it scientific? I'm vegetarian. That's enough. I don't eat onion garlic. Why should I? Some people find difficulty keeping Ekadasi, but we have to. And when during one of Lord Chaitanya's pastime, they brought Lord Jagannath prasadam on Ekadasi day. What to do when somebody brings the Lord's prasadam and comes and offers to you on Ekadasi day? It's a predicament. The Lord is extending his mercy. Somebody think, I should immediately take it. But if it's Ekadasi, what am I supposed to do? So Lord Chaitanya did the most wonderful thing. He paid obeisances to the prasadam. That means he has honored the prasadam. And the next day when it's Dwadasi, he took the prasadam. So somebody comes and gives you grain on Ekadasi, offered to Radha Nila Madhava, because Radha Nila Madhava don't observe Ekadasi. But the devotees, so you pay obeisances to the prasadam. Thank you, Prabhu. Let me have it, but you keep it in a safe place. So next day, when you're breaking the fast, you take it. Okay?
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you.
If not, Hare Lila Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Danvat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Amit ji, how are you?
I am doing good, Prabhuji. How are you?
Good. Yes.
So Prabhuji, I have just one realization that I heard you saying about the favorable and non-favorable points regarding the devotional service, and that I'm not very much in that part, but today after hearing those 6 points, enthusiasm, that nishchaya, and that patience and everything, I was very curious to move ahead. But yeah, I like that part very much. And second part is that refrain from the contamination which other guys or other maybe favorable or not favorable, but some other persons posted on you, so you have to be refrained from the contamination. So these are the 2 points I really like from this lecture. Means overall lecture was very good, but these 2 points which suits to me actually. So that's why I'm just very much realized on that part. And thank you very much for the wonderful class, Prabhuji. I really
Hare
honored.
Krishna, Hare Krishna. It's my good fortune that whatever came out of my mouth was
No, always Prabhuji, it's our pleasure that you honored us by giving this such kind of beautiful lectures and nectarian lectures to us, and it was very wonderful things, and I'm very blessed, Prabhuji. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna. So we have such senior devotees in this group. I'm very junior compared to so many senior devotees like Dwarakanath Prabhu, Hari Leela Prabhu, Madhavi Mataji. I'm just like a firefly in the midst of the sun. What is the value of a firefly when the sun is shining? So
Prabhuji, you are so humble.
No. I'm
okay. So I will request last time This is the last call for any devotee. Any question, any realization, any reflections that you would like to express?
All of you should get this book. Or even if you don't have this book online, it is there. You can read. These are the most potent instructions. Even if you say, I'm so busy, just you can read this small book. In one day, actually, you can read. 1 or 2 days, you can read. But first verse, you just meditate on the verse and try to get into the depth of this verse. Even if you just focus your life on this one single book, you can become a pure devotee. I guarantee you, just this one book, if you dedicate your life to the instructions of this book, you're going back to Krishna.
Yes.
Yes.
Very good, Prabhuji. That is a very nice instruction. And really, that book, our Hanuman Prasad Maharaj likes so much that he has
written a commentary on that. I wanted to I asked Maharaj that day, Maharaj, can I buy? He said, will be coming out soon. So we should buy Hanuman Prasad Maharaj commentary on Prabhupada's commentary on the Nectar of Devotion. Like Prabhupada predicted, my devotees will be writing commentaries on my commentary. It's happening already.
Very good.
All right.
Okay. So if
thank you all so much.
Then we will end the session here, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna, Vanchakalpatarubhishta, Kripasindhiveva, Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo, Namo Namaha, Anantakoti, Vaishnavindaki, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Jai Gaur Premanandi,
Hari Bol. Gaur Bhaktavinda ki Jai.
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Prabhu, do you have any questions, Prabhuji?
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Very nice class.
Nice class. Enjoyed it.
He's gone.
Prabhu, Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu, do you have a question?
Yes, question. There is one same book, Nectar, by Srila Prabhupada Ji Maharaj also.
That is Nectar of Devotion. And this is Nectar of Instruction.
Yes, devotion. That one is different, is that?
Yes, it's a different book.
Okay. Because I have that one and I say that this book looks different. Thank you.
Yeah, actually Nectar of Devotion is summary study of Srila Prabhupada based on Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu of Rupa Goswami.
Okay, yes. Very nice instructions there, unbelievably.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Bye.